What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jonathan with the Rideshare Panel, and for those of you that do not know, for just over about the last month, I've been driving around with this red bag, filling it up with hot, tasty, and delicious food, and then delivering that to people's, doorsteps, their houses, condos, places of work, wherever they want food delivered to. And during that time, I've had a pretty good experience, and I've made some decent money. So today, I'm going to go ahead and kind of recap for you how much money I've been making and what that experience has been like. So let's start off with the good part, how much money I've been making, because I know you guys really want to hear about that. And let's take a look kind of in my my DoorDash driver app and look at my earnings for the past few weeks. So let's start with this current week, and I've made about $150 driving just over 6 hours. So when you do the math on that, that comes out to be about $25 an hour, maybe a little bit less. And then the interesting part about that is I kind of want to do a breakdown of what my expenses are for that using the standard deduction rate. And so let's dive in like a little bit more precisely just to one day. And on January 1st, that's New Year's Day, I was driving for a little over 4 hours. I made about $112 during that time period, so it still works out to be just over $25 an hour. But during that time, I actually drove an estimated 55 miles, and I'm tracking that using QuickBooks mileage tracker. So if you take that and you kind of look at the standard mileage rate during that time period, then that gives me a deductible of just over $25 to kind of take off as an expense and not pay taxes on, off against the $112 that I made. And so that's actually a sizable chunk for the deductible, and that means that I'm driving quite a bit and putting a decent amount of wear and tear on my car during that time period. But the money's pretty good, so I'm not that worried about those expenses. I just kind of wanted to put that out for you. And so the week before that, let's take another look at that. I also made close to $150 during that time period and driving about 6.5 hours. So that, if you do the math on that, it's actually about the same. I'm making close to $25 an hour, maybe a little bit less than that, and I'm driving a decent distance during that time period too. So if you look through all the past weeks, the numbers are surprisingly similar. My average is between $20 to $25 an hour driving with DoorDash, and I'm doing that, keeping my average pretty consistent by driving mostly during the dinner time hours. I usually kind of sign in after I've gotten a lot of stuff done during the day, and I kind of want to head out when people are just getting back from work. They're tired, they don't want to make their own food, so they get it delivered. So I'm kind of driving around during that period and picking up people's food for them. So generally my experience during this time period has been really good. Like, I know as a rideshare driver I'm supposed to be pissed about my work and kind of be super pessimistic about everything, but I'm only doing it part-time, so it's definitely not a full-time thing for me. It's just kind of like a late evening or dinner time thing for me to get out of the house, make a little bit of extra money here and there, and I really enjoy doing it. Like, my very second day I got wrecked. It was not a fun experience, I'll admit it. I started getting batched orders, and they just were not batched well. So like, I had this order where I was supposed to drop off food at a Navy base, and that requires a lot of security clearance just to get in. Not to mention the base wasn't listed on GPS, so like, I didn't even know where this thing really was. And that was a batched order, so I had another order already in the car that I was delivering, and that was coming to the next person after that. So it took me about 30 minutes to get into the Navy base, on the phone with this customer who was trying to give me directions on how to get in there. And then this whole time, my next order, these people were just like watching me on the app, tracking my every move, and like calling me to see where I was at, trying to get like more information from me. And I was just doing my best to console them, like, hey, there's not a whole lot I can do about this, I just have this other order I have to get off. So I finally got the order to the Navy base, and then I headed over to the next place, which was about 10 to 15 minutes north of where I was at. And so these people did not cancel the order. They waited till I got there, and then I opened the door, and the guy was just pissed in my face about like how he was not going to accept this food and how he was canceling it, which was just a really shitty thing to do, because he could have just canceled that earlier and not wasted my time getting up there to him, but he really just wanted to vent on somebody. Silver lining is he didn't want his food, so I ended up having a free meal. It was a delicious hamburger and a milkshake, quite tasty. DoorDash still paid me for that delivery, so all was really good at the end of the day. And other than that, I really actually honestly do enjoy driving around and making these deliveries for people. Like, if I were to be doing this full time, yes, it would be very different. but it's kind of cool just like, you know, head into a restaurant, you know, chatting up the hostess for a minute and like, you know, just passing on some good vibes, and then taking the order, making someone's day because they don't have to leave the house and you know, pick up their food for themselves. And I know that sounds cheesy, but like, honest to God, it's not that bad. I will say that, you know, during that time period when I'm driving in the evenings in Seattle, that kind of what I'm noticing here in northern Seattle is that the average surge pay during that time period is about $3.50 an hour. So I am kind of like looking for that surge. This average isn't an average of me driving all the time. It's an average of me driving during some of the best times to drive in Seattle. So I would definitely estimate my averages to be much, much lower if I wanted to do DoorDash full time, but obviously no one does that. You know, everyone kind of mixes up what they're, you know, doing rideshare wise. And a lot of times during the day, I will drive for like Amazon Flex and pick up a block because that's consistent earnings during that time period. And it's a time period when there's not a lot of demand for people ordering food or even people getting Lyft or Uber rides because people were at work during that time period. So that's kind of my go-to combo for rideshare apps. I think if I were trying to do DoorDash full time, my attitude would be a lot different, but it's very much like a side hustle, and it's something that I'm doing in the context of a bigger picture where I'm working on, you know, quite a few different projects. So doing a little bit of DoorDash here and there is really a lot of fun for me. You know, I can see why full-time drivers get down about it, but, you know, if you're mixing it up quite a bit and you've got different stuff going on, there's a lot of reason to be optimistic and just have a good time with it. You know, some of those things for me are not even rideshare. Like, I've got a lot of side hustles going on and projects that I'm working on outside of this, which I will actually be sharing a little bit with you guys, kind of like other ways to diversify your income. I did a video about it the other day, and I plan to do more videos just to keep up with, you know, what people are interested in, because at the end of the day, you know, side hustling and diversifying your income, rideshare is a great way to do it because anyone can just hop on and get started. But there's a lot of other fun projects that, you know, it might be more passion projects for people. Like if you like designing products or, you know, kind of like working with clients, there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of get some other fun stuff going on to keep your day interesting and, you know, to kind of work towards something that's a bigger picture.